Hello everyone, this is Archana here. Welcome to another podcast with me. Today we are talking about what next. So I have with me my guest, Mr. Rohit Lal. Rohit is a part of my professional network based in Maharashtra, India. He's an experienced leader with demonstrated track record in financial service industry. You talk about it and he knows it all. Have worked in various functions across retail banking products, have excellent understanding of products, distribution, operations, compliance, and risk management. He is your banking and finance guy. So let's welcome Rohit on board. Hello Rohit, how are you doing?
Very good, Archana, and I hope you're doing well as well. Good to be
We
back
are
on your
very
show.
happy to Thank you. We are very, very happy to have you once again with us. So, Rohit, over these few months and extended lockdowns one after the other, so much going around, not only in India, across the globe. People have been talking about be positive, stay positive, think of a transition, think of a change. It's going to be for the better. So much happening all across, but nothing seemed to be really taking a step forward. What is exactly happening? Why are you so positive? You have been very positive. You have been doing a lot of surveys. So what are your surveys saying? What is your report saying? Where are we heading to? What is happening? Why are you positive?
So, Archana, there are 101 reasons or maybe 1,000 reasons to be negative, right?
Yeah.
So look at any newspaper, log into any TV channel, you'll only hear bad news.
Yeah.
And this crisis is unprecedented. We've gone through as a community, as a globe, we've gone through many crises in the past, right? But none of them has really impacted economic activity, business and trade as much as this COVID virus has done. So, like I said, the entire globe, and I can't think of any country which is not impacted. And I'll give you some data, just to drive home the point that, there is so much negative news all around. Last year, in 2019, the global GDP grew by 3%, right? India grew by about 5.5 to 6%. This year, the outlook is that the GDP will degrow. So there'll be a negative 3% growth, right? So that's a shift of 6%. And India is also likely to slip into the negative, right? There are various surveys that have been done by organizations like Facebook, like Salesforce, which I've come across. And there are a lot of negative news, right? So there are, as per a Facebook survey that they did of small and medium enterprises in the US, almost 31% of businesses have shut shop. Again, there's a survey of McKinsey where they spoke to about 1592 global companies. Many of them have multinational presence. And 84% of these companies said that they are very, very serious. They feel that the impact of the virus is going to be very, very serious, right?
Right.
There are many sectors like transport, aviation, hospitality, entertainment, which are facing existential crisis. So there are 100, like I said, 1,000 reasons to be negative. However, and you asked about my survey as well, which we did recently, and we had very good response rates. Almost 250 to 260 people responded. And again, a lot of people, majority of the respondents are worried about their job safety, things like salary cuts happening. They're looking at ways to save more money. They're completely looking at changing their investments, removing from risky assets like, equity and real estate to secure assets, safe havens like gold and bank deposits and things like that. If you ask me, this is like overreaction, right? You saw the stock markets also in India going from, Nifty went from 12,500 roughly to 7,500, right? So a lot of it is overreaction because, we react and we respond to negative news all around us. And I'll also answer your question on why I'm so positive, right? So the first thing is, I feel that, looking at the numbers, so whether it is new infections, whether it is deaths across the world due to COVID, whether it is stock markets, whether it is some bad news or good news trickling in overall about the economy, a lot of things are changing. So I believe that, the worst is over for us, right? And from here, we will see a recovery. I'm not saying that it will be a V-shaped recovery and markets will rebound or economy will rebound as as fast as it went down, but it could be a U-shaped recovery, and I'm very optimistic, right? So there will be a recovery, and I see the light at the end of the tunnel very approaching us, right? So that's my biggest reason for being so positive. Second, like I mentioned in your in our earlier interaction, I think every crisis is an opportunity, right? Yeah. So people who have vision, people who have some some good thought, a good concept in mind, will grab this opportunity and make a big proposition out of it. And I'll tell you, there are 13 companies, which I read an article which says 13 companies, actually started during a recession, right? Maybe not as bad as COVID, but then pretty bad times. And if I tell you some of these names, you'll be very surprised. So companies like General Electricals, General Motors, IBM, HP, Disney, these all of them started their businesses during recessionary times. Right. So like I said, if you have a good idea, if you have a bright idea, this is the best time to start. Right.
Right.
And
right.
work towards making it a success. And lastly, I think, we should all think of such downtimes as a time to sort of introspect, reassess what we've done, review what the path that we've come on, and change strategy, start doing more of something, start doing less of some other things, but re-execute our plans with double the passion, double the energy and enthusiasm, right? So for all these reasons, I'm very positive, and I hope that people like you, doing such a stellar job in spreading positivity, the impact will be felt more and more.
Thank you, Rohit. Thanks for the compliments there. But yes, it's all about positivity here. We are not talking about a V-shaped growth, but we are definitely talking about a U-shape. But we are seeing growth. It's all about managing and realigning ourselves with our goals and how we execute them, how we plan them. People have shifted from risky investments to more stable investments. Yes, but we understand that IBM happened or HP happened or other big companies happened around the worst of times in the economy. But what about the common man today? Common man is suffering. There are pay cuts, there are pink slips being offered every now and then to people. So I mean, what next now? What for them? I mean, how do they manage their households, their cash flow in the family? I think that is something very important, and we all are worried about it. So what next for them?
Sure. So that's a very valid point. I mean, I must confess to you that though I'm an entrepreneur, some of the deals that I was very certain of signing in April or May have all been pushed back. So I don't think there's anyone in this world, whether it's a CEO of an MNC or whether it's some migrant worker in India. I mean, everyone is concerned. Everyone is worried about their livelihood, right? Many of us don't even know where the next paycheck is going to come from. Absolutely. However, we have to survive. That we have to live through these troubled times. And like I said, there'll be, we'll be better off if we look at ourselves or our finances or our careers, maybe a year or 2 years down, we'll all be in much better position and much better shape if we continue to do the right things, right, consistently. So that is my belief. As far as your question about personal finances are concerned, yes, we have to worry, and we have to revisit many of the things that we've done or many of the things that we've taken for granted. So, and I'll tell you, a lot of these things I've done myself in the last 2 months. So, I'm not giving advice which is very theoretical and never been done. So I'm speaking from my personal experience as well. Right. So all of us must take stock of our cash flows. Right. So when I did that for myself, I said, okay, what is the best case scenario? Right. So as per the best case scenario, which is that, all the deals that I was talking about, and I was talking to my clients, all of them go through. Right. So if that is the case, then how will my cash flows look like? Right. The second would be a normal scenario where, 50% of the deals happen, 50% don't happen, and so on and so forth. And then in the worst case scenario, which is, let's say nothing happens, out of the 5 deals that I'm talking about, nothing materializes. How do I survive in that scenario, right? So for each of them, you have to not only look at your inflows but also your outflows, right? So today I was reading a very interesting article which says that April and May would possibly be the lowest that we've spent in many years, and I did that for myself, and I realized that that is actually true, right? Then the author of that article said that you bifurcate your expenses into something which is essential. So there are grocery or milk and whatever. These are essential expenditure, right? Then he said some things which are fixed. So if you're paying a rent or installment, right, or some premium, some society maintenance, these are fixed expenses. You can't do without them. Then you come to a category called discretionary expenses, right, which are things that you spend on at your discretion, right? So the author said that we should take a very, very hard look at our discretionary expenses and cut them ruthlessly, right? And Archana, I'd like to mention that in the survey that we done, and you were one of the respondents, we asked respondents about their plans to cut discretionary expenses, and about 71% of them, I remember the number at the top of my mind, 71% said that they already have plans to cut discretionary expenses, right? So the top discretionary expenses would be holidays, right? Which is a combination of cutting expenses as well as some health concerns. I'm not comfortable traveling and staying in a flight or staying in a hotel where there are 100 other people, right? Then there are things like purchase of electronics, purchase of vehicles, buying luxury items. So these can take a backseat for the next 6 months or 12 months or 2 years also, depending on your financial position, right? So people will find some ways to, survive, even if they lose their jobs, unfortunately, or they have a salary cut, which is not as unfortunate as the previous scenario that I mentioned.
Right.
So that is on the cash flow management. Second is, despite the fact that we are in troubled times, still we have to take decisions based on rationality. We can't be fearful of how things are panning out. We have to be rational. We have to keep our goals in mind. We have to make a plan and stick to it, right? For example, my daughter is now 18. She's getting into college now. And after 3 years, she'll probably go abroad for studies, right? So I have a goal in mind, right? That after 3 years, I need X amount of money. Now, if I say that I'll put the money I have at my disposal in a fixed deposit, it will never grow to the amount that I want, right? So you have to take a call and distribute it in such a manner that there's a risk reward ratio. And though I understand the risk of investing in equity, some percentage has to go in equity, which will give me disproportionate returns compared to a fixed deposit or maybe even gold, right? So you have to take a little bit of risk and yet not expose yourself beyond a certain point of time.
Right.
Third would be, to look at your debts if you have any. So look at your debts, especially if you have a high cost debt, right? So retire it as soon as possible, right? Because you're paying interest rates which are fairly high, right? And there's a monthly outflow which you're obligated to pay. So do your best to either part pay the loan, or if you can close it completely, right? So your outflows are protected. Then all of us have some existing investment portfolio. So just like I said, you have to review what you've done in the past and rebalance and reassess. Similarly, with our portfolio also, we have to do some bit of rebalancing, reevaluation, reassessment, and completely or maybe partially change the kind of assets that we've invested in, right? And there's a lot of insights from the survey that I did, which I can share with you offline, and maybe you can share with your audience. But a lot of interesting insights into how people are planning to change their investment habits without, while having a balanced portfolio. So it's not that you're only invested in equity or you're being ultra conservative and not taking any risk. So have a balanced portfolio which through which you can invest in different asset classes. Then on liquidity. So all of us need to have liquidity of at least 5 to 6 months of our monthly expenses. So no matter what we think, shares are not a liquid form of investment. Right? Because not too many of us would want to sell when the chips are down. So Liquidity
Right.
would mean maybe bank deposits or
Yeah.
savings accounts and so on. So you know
Absolutely.
at least 5 to 6 months of your income must be invested in something which you can have it, which we can use overnight, literally, if you need to,
Right.
right? So that's again very important. Another big factor that I consider is, the amount of insurance that we have. So India is, you'll know, is very underpenetrated as far as health insurance is concerned, as far as life insurance
Absolutely.
is concerned. And health insurance is something which takes care of your hospitalization needs and any other,
Yeah.
maybe you have an unfortunate accident. So those are all covered by health insurance. So I will urge
Absolutely.
every one of us to review what kind of insurance or what kind of cover we want, what kind of policy we want. So you have advisors, you have websites that can help you to decide how much is enough for your family. There are floater covers. So there are various kinds of instruments available, policies available, which can be
Right.
customized to a large extent, right? So I would
Right.
urge everyone to go in for that kind of cover. Then,
Right.
life insurance again is something which I will advise people to definitely take. And, there are again multiple options. You can speak to advisors, you can speak to agents, you can visit online
Yeah.
sites and figure out,
Yeah.
what is the one that makes sense to you.
Right.
However, my advice would be that, I'm not a big fan of anything which combines investment and insurance, right? So I look at life insurance as a pure term cover, which I've taken for myself, right? And should something happen to me, that amount of money will come to my family's hands, and that is enough to take care of their needs, even if I'm not around
Absolutely.
by some unfortunate means. Uh, and lastly, Archana, I think it's very important to keep your family members engaged. And again, we were talking about the survey this morning when we spoke briefly. In the survey that I floated around and it was posted on my LinkedIn, Facebook, on WhatsApp, surprising part is, only 15% of the respondents were women. And in my
Yeah.
experience, again, I see that women are not very aware of, investments that their husbands have done, right? And I'm guilty of not probably spending adequate amount of time with my wife to explain to her
Yeah.
what is the insurance, what is the purpose, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I think women need to take more active interest. And similarly,
Yeah.
we need to involve them a lot more in the investment decisions. And in
Yeah.
fact, not only spouses, but also kids. I think kids need to know, right? It'll be a great learning experience for them to understand
Yeah.
what has happened in the last 2 months and how it is affecting all of us, and what are the different
Absolutely.
ways that in which we are thinking to take care of any eventuality which might happen to
Yeah.
us as a family, or as a professional, and so on, right? So I think it's very
Right.
important to engage with them and not only share with them, but also ask them for suggestions in terms of what we do,
Yeah.
and especially with kids, I think they like a lot to like it a lot if their views are asked and they're asked to participate in
Absolutely.
which broadly
True.
affect families and so on. So those
Yeah.
are some of the do's and maybe some don'ts that I go by in my life, and I think it's a great platform, Archana, for me to share my thoughts with you and your audience, and
Pleasure.
hopefully
Pleasure.
they will understand something, and if there are any queries, we
Absolutely.
are there to sort of take them and give responses to your people. So happy to help
Lovely,
them.
lovely. Thank you so much, Rohit. I think you've given wonderful information to all of them. They will definitely benefit out of this. The doubt that we all of us have had, in these past few months about what next, where are we heading to, where is this a dark tunnel or is it a never-ending tunnel? I think you've thrown a lot of light of positivity and shown them the flow chart of the way we need to conduct things going forward, because I think it's very important once we plan ourselves, our finances, and see more positivity in the entire scenario. The energies are different then, and when we work in tandem with these energies, I think a lot of things change for us, and a lot of good planning is of course required with respect to the kind of finances, the movement of the finances you spoke about, the cash inflow, the returns, the revenues, the asset allocation. I think it does make a lot of difference. Of course, involving the family here would also contribute a lot, because it's all about the family after all, So when we bring things together, it does work wonders. Thank you so much, Rohit. Thanks a lot for coming on board once again with all our viewers. I'm sure they thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Lots of things to learn from you. So have a great day, and we'll
Thank you.
definitely follow these pointers that have been given to us by you. Have a great day. Have a wonderful life, and stay connected.
Thank you so much, Arjun. It's a pleasure always to be on your show. All the best to you and your
Thank
viewers
you.
as well. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
You too.
A wonderful conversation with Rohit Lal. He sees positivity in everything. People have been thinking negative, but he says even if we don't see a V-shaped growth, a V recovery of the economy, this is definitely going to be a U-shape, and this is not the dark tunnel we are going to be in all our lives. There is a shine and there is a ray of hope right at the end of this tunnel, and this tunnel is ending very soon. He is talking about staying positive. He is talking about the fact that the surveys talk about uh, April and May being the lowest months for everybody across the globe, where people haven't spent the way they have been used to all their lives. I think this has been wonderful, absolutely a great exchange of information. He talks about finances, he talks about managing our finances and taking them to a completely revamping them in a way that our goals are met, our restructuring them in a fashion, be it your asset allocation, the risky investments, the solid investments, so many things he has spoken about. I think all said and done with, he has given us a very positive scenario, a very hopeful scenario, and we all look forward to it. I wish each and every one of us a very good future ahead, a bright light, a bright life, and stay tuned for more.